What's good with it, man? It's your boy Rojo, and this is the Rojo World, man. Today we're going to talk about Northern Riders, and only because I came across an interesting article where it's trying to talk about their origins. So, man, we're going to get to it. This is from the East Bay Times. This is all the way back from 2010. State officials have traced the genesis of a new gang to Tracy's Duell Vocational Institution. The Northern Riders first gained attention in 2000 when a founding member made a brazen declaration of war in a yard at Duell. Officials today are determining if this group should hold rank among California's established prison gangs. It is started inside the Tracy prison as officials suspect it would become the state's eighth documented prison gang and Duell's second in a little more than 50 years. The Mexican Mafia, one of the oldest and most notorious prison gangs, was first spawned there. The Northern Riders, which is a gang with an origin unlike others, went undetected for a time while prison investigators focused on the more prominent groups. We didn't think they'd materialize into anything, says Special Agent Mike Brody, a gang investigator for the State Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations. But we were wrong. So far, the Northern Riders have grown to approximately 1,200 members throughout Northern California prisons. In a sweep last month at Duell, officials confirmed 43 inmates as members, Chief Deputy Warden Ron Rackley said. Brody described the Northern Riders as a so called dropout gang. It formed in reaction to the rigid Northern structure in Nuestra Familia, related gangs that demand their members carry out commands from those further up in the hierarchy. Unhappy with the politics of these established gangs, then Duell inmate Maurice Vasquez, that's Snoop, a decade ago walked onto the prison yard controlled by Nuestra Familia and began fighting several of its leaders at once, Brody said. That was his declaration that the Northern Riders are up and running, Brody said, adding that its members operate more as a network than as a hierarchy and recruit members with the idea if you come with us, you don't answer to anybody. He said its origin in reaction to other gangs makes it unique because most band together for self protection. The Northern Riders dominate special needs yard at Duell and other Northern California prisons populated by inmates who have dropped out of gangs. While the list of street gangs in California is long, corrections officials recognize only seven that originated inside of California's prison walls, said Special Agent Michael Ruff, also a prison gang investigator with the Corrections Department. According to Ruff, the Mexican Mafia started at Duell in 1958. San Quentin State Prison was the birthplace of Nuestra Familia, 1967. The Aryan Brotherhood, 1968. Black Guerrilla Family, 1971. And Texas Syndicate, 1973. Nuestra Familia launched the Northern Structure in 1983 at Folsom State Prison, but officials considered it a distinct gang. The Nazi Lowriders, 1998, began in the California Youth Authority. Stockton Police Sergeant Rodney Rigo, a gang investigator, said he's aware of the Northern Riders, but the group has yet to be connected with any incidents in town. State prison officials are well into a year-long analysis of the Northern Riders to determine if it should be classified as a validated prison gang. Once the analysis is complete, they will pass their information to headquarters in Sacramento, where top brass will make the final determination, Ruff said. There is little mystery to why California's crowded prisons continue to give rise to new gangs, said Barry Chrisberg, a distinguished senior fellow at UC Berkeley Center for Criminal Justice. Gangs have formed throughout history as tools for powerless segments of a society to gain some control over their lives, he says. That explains warlords in Afghanistan, the mafia in Sicily, as well as inmates in California's chronically overcrowded prisons, he says. What you have in prison is almost a hothouse. We put together a large number of people who are generally powerless over their lives. The gang gives them an alternative identity. Now, personally, my first awareness with the Northern Riders was probably 2006 or the very beginning of 2007. The last time I went to prison, man, I got arrested for an assault rifle in the Bay Area, and while I was on bail, I caught some more firearms cases in the Yuba Sutter area in Northern California. And I ended up getting 4 years for it. So, I go to Sutter County, didn't hear nothing. You know what I mean? I was in their programming as active. You know what I mean? So I slide up to Tracy as soon as I get off. They're like, "Oh, you're validated." You got to remember this is all pre-end of hostilities and shoe kickouts and all that, man. So, excuse me, I end up getting housed in L wing, L2, I believe, and I was right across from a dorm. And I go in there. People ask me, "Are you active? Not active?" I don't even understand that terminology, man. You know what I mean? But they probably quickly figured out that I wasn't playing no politics, right? So I kept hearing Norteño Rider. That's what they were saying. I'm like, the fuck, man, it's kind of awkward to be hearing, northern dudes woofing out of their cells like that, bro. And then I heard, come about shutdown time at night. I heard the active northerners doing their shutdown, and then I keep hearing all this yelling over top of it, talking about Ryder this and Buster Killer that and Chapete this, and I'm just like, whoa. And so I got at my celly. I'm like, "What's up with these Northern Rider dudes?" It's like, "Oh, that's a dropout gang." I'm like, "Hey, I never heard of them. How many is there?" He's like, "Man, there's a couple thousand of them fools." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they're all on the S and Ys and 50/50s and in the holes and shit." You know what I mean? And you know, it so happened that that dude Snoop was in Tracy when I was there upstairs, maybe some kind of layover or something, just for a couple of days. And I heard everybody, basically addressing him and showing respect and whoop de whoop and whatnot for their dude. You know what I mean? And I got to talking to some dudes in the hole in there, man. And there was a couple of them that were riders. Some were active. There was a couple of bulldogs in there. You know what I mean? And started learning a little bit about them dudes. And man, them guys are deep, bro. They're deep. From what I see, they don't have any necessarily too much rules, bro, because I hear a lot of JCat type stuff, a lot of yelling and wolfing, you name it. They're talking about it. It's pretty bad. You know what I mean? But they're still really, really, really deep, man. That's probably the biggest, mostly former northern type of groups there is, and by a landslide. But yeah, that dude Snoop, man, he went out to the yard a couple times. They tried to remove him. He kept going back, and he started himself quite the movement. You know, I really don't understand their do's and don'ts. None of that type of shit. But they're definitely large in numbers and growing. So I just found it interesting that they try to talk about the origins of it. You know what I mean? I don't know what year they started, none of that kind of stuff, man. But they've already been around probably like almost 20 years. You know, so they're probably not going nowhere, man. I'm always curious to see when they start doing the reintegration and stuff. How that's going to pan out. But if they're smart, they wouldn't try to do that, man, because that's going to lead to a lot of shit. They try to move actors to them yards. There's going to be dudes waiting and vice versa. So anyway, just a little bit about the Northern Riders. I found that very interesting. So hope you guys have a good weekend, man. Today's Friday, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy yourselves, man. I'll probably be on the live in a little bit. It's your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room. I'm out.